Guys, it's Matt Haycox and welcome to another one of my weekly roundups. We've got so much to talk about today, so much to talk about because I've actually been breaking my own rules about consistency. I think this is probably the first time we've recorded this in maybe 3 months. So we're definitely going to be talking about consistency and excuses. We're also going to be talking about why the small things in business are often the most important. We're obviously going to be talking about networking. We talk about networking every week. We're going to talk about why the lack of lychees for my smoothie was almost enough to send me over the edge and is a complete representation of your business if you've got no lychees for smoothies. We're going to talk about employee loyalty. It's an interesting question. It's more a question for me to you guys to see what you think, pick your brains, and also probably help you with some decisions when it comes to having to make decisions to fire people. We're going to be talking about the size of my balls, which I'm sure you're going to find very exciting, and much, much more. So welcome back here in Dubai, filming in Dubai, which is my excuse for why we haven't done this for so long, to be honest, because I keep saying over here, I don't know where the time goes. Which I don't know where the time goes. I wake up every morning at, kind of 7:30, 8 o'clock. I go and do a couple of hours in the gym. My morning routine here is to finish the gym, to then, do a few emails, have a bit of breakfast and kind of get myself set up for the day, which I really like over here. I like the time difference because by the time I've been up, I've done the gym, I've done some emails, I've had a leisurely breakfast, and I've kind of set myself up for the day, over the course of about 4 hours. It's still only 7:30, 8 o'clock in the UK. So I've got a full UK day ahead of me, and I've obviously got all the Dubai day as well. But I do find myself going out for lunches and dinners here pretty much every day. Yes, they're fun, yes, they're social, but they're 90% of the time for business purposes because it's such a fantastic opportunity over here to meet such high caliber people. Whether that is people who live here, because they've always been here, whether it's people who've chosen to move here, expats, a lot of successful English expats or international expats I've been able to get introduced to and catch up with, or whether it's just because, people fly in for a week's holiday or a week's work here and there, and I then get the chance to jump into a lunch or something or a dinner with them. I find so many opportunities that I can't say no to, like I say, fun stuff, first world problems, but my time just disappears. However, that all said, it is an excuse because it takes me half an hour, 45 minutes to film these things, and if I'd have really pushed myself, well, probably not even really push myself, if I'd have just, tried to put the effort in, there's not a chance I couldn't have found half an hour here, 45 minutes there, once a week to continue to record these. So I always want to be honest, because, I know a lot of you guys who listen to this or watch this are full of excuses, and, it's not fair for me to sit here, preaching all this stuff when I'm breaking my own rules. So, Consistency is the key in so many things. Obviously, one of the things you guys ask me about is marketing and and social media advice, etc. And consistency is always very much a mainstay of success in these kind of things. If you're not regularly putting out your message, if you're not regularly and consistently putting out content and reminding people who you are and talking about what you do, then it's just not good enough, and it's not going to get the success that you need and potentially deserve. So, and that also made me think this week, because I was writing a blog for Valentine's Day, and any of you guys who read or follow much of my stuff might know that a little skit, or whatever you want to call it, that I often like to do is how to run your business like, or what your business could learn from. I always try and pick funny or unusual things. Some of the historical ones I've done is like how to run your business like Freddie Mercury, or what your business can learn from Father Christmas, whatever that may be. I was trying to think about the parallels between Valentine's Day and business, and the big thing that came out of that for me, not that I will caveat this with saying I am absolutely not the best person to be giving relationship advice, But one of the things it really made me think about was Valentine's Day is this one day of the year when anyone who's, let's say, going to support it, going to get bought into it all, runs around trying to find these grand gestures that they can do for their missus or for their mister, and it's what huge bouquet of flowers can I buy, what presents can I buy, what things can I set up for the day to for this grand romantic gesture and to make my partner happy. And for me, I think when you think about it, as much as anyone may like to receive that romantic gesture, as much as someone is going to be happy, and it may have a degree of success in your relationship, the reality is any successful relationship is not made or broken by how big a bouquet of flowers is on Valentine's Day or what huge grand gesture you do. If you're not putting the effort in and doing the small things the rest of the year round. And I would go as far as to argue you could completely ignore Valentine's Day should you be doing all the other things day in, day out, whatever those other things are, the little gestures, getting the basics right, being 1% better each day, just the things that, may seem unexciting and almost inconsequential, because they're just not big, but they are ultimately the things that matter. I'm sure, you're not going to find a girl, well, I'm sure you'll find plenty of these kind of girls in Dubai, but I'm sure you're not going to find a girl who is going to accept shit for 364 days of the year and then just think that you're an amazing guy because you've gone and spent a fortune on Valentine's Day, taken her to a fancy restaurant and bought a massive bouquet of flowers. And for me, that's the same parallel in business, that, yes, that one day may plaster over a tiny crack or may put someone in a good mood for the day. But if you're not getting the basics right day in, day out, if you haven't got your marketing strategies, if you haven't got your accounts working perfectly, if you aren't working on your employee morale, all these different things that need to be done day in, day out, it really doesn't matter if you do once a year a massive marketing campaign or a big sale, a big discount, whatever this one thing is. Okay, it may generate a little bit of business for you, but it is much, much less important than getting everything else right and putting the effort in on the other 364 days of the year. So that is my business and Valentine's Day parallel, but please, as I said at the beginning, don't be taking much relationship advice from me. I have not got a fantastic track record. What's next? What is next on the list? The small things in life and business. I said small things in life. I actually think it's quite a big thing, but I've made this comment in relation to lateness. Now again, one of my excuses for missing recording this over the last few months is I've really been hammering the gym over here and loving all the boxing and kickboxing training that I've been doing here. And there's been, like I say, any of you guys who watch or listen to this stuff regularly, I'll have seen me down there doing a bit, also recording a few videos in the gym, because I like to try and draw some parallels, again, from exercise to business, exercise to life. And again, I think there's so much importance, from fitness and from health and fitness, which, I never used to appreciate, and I'm very much an advocate for now. So I do talk about that a lot more, but the two big things when I'd made these notes that were playing on my mind about the gym. One was lateness. Now, my trainer, I don't know whether or not he's watching this, he certainly knows my feelings, so I don't need to disguise his name. But my trainer, Stephen the Jaguar, I say had because he's dramatically improved now, had a serious lateness problem. And in the first 40 sessions, because I buy a big block of sessions off him and we burn them up every day. I'll be doing at least 5, sometimes 6 sessions a week. In the first 40 sessions of training with him, he slept through 3 of the sessions and he was late. And by late, I don't mean 2 minutes. I mean materially late. 15 minutes into an hour session, 20 minutes into an hour session. He was late on something like 17 or 18 of the sessions, and there was a few other things as well. I mean, literally across 40 sessions, he was late for over 50% of them and slept through 10% of them. Now, I tell this because Steve was very regularly asking me for, you know, advice on how he could grow his business, how he could grow his client base, etc. And for me, before you can do anything else, if you can't get the basics right, you're never, ever, ever going to be able to build a successful business. You know, whatever your business is, you know, whether you're a one-man band, you know, personal trainer in the gym, or whether you're a, you know, international conglomerate, although I would fail to believe that you would actually have gotten to be an international conglomerate should you not be able to get these kind of things right. But I'm saying to Steve, it doesn't matter how good the other bits are. Because, and when I say how good they are, believe me, this guy's fucking amazing. You know, I mean, I've trained with a lot of people over the years, and he is unquestionably, you know, the best pad guy I've ever worked with. You know, a fantastic trainer, lovely guy, lovely personality, and very respected in the kind of professional fight world as well. You know, he trains with a lot of the top guys, so he very much knows his stuff. But if you can't turn up on time, if you can't get these kind of basics right, it doesn't matter how good everything else is. And I was saying to Steve, look, I'm a tolerant, easy guy, and I'm even more tolerant while I'm in Dubai, because, you know, I guess my diary isn't quite as hard pressed as it is in the UK, and it certainly isn't hard pressed at 8:30 in the morning when I turn up at the gym. So ultimately, you know, if he turns up at 10 to 9 instead of 8:30, it's not going to make a huge difference to me, because I just find 20 minutes to go and do some other work in the gym to keep myself busy. But that is not the answer for him, you know, because 99% of the rest of the world aren't as tolerant as me, and you know, won't be accepting that. And you know, sometimes when I got the arse about this, I'd be saying to Steve, listen, mate, you know, it doesn't matter how good you are. One day, if I wake up and get the arse, then I'm gone. And, you know, I can introduce you to a lot of people who want to come and train with you and will enjoy training with you, but they will absolutely not be as tolerant as I am about you turning up on time. So, you know, there's a lot more to the picture than just lateness alone. But I just think it's, you know, for me, such an important thing. We all know these late people. I'm not talking about being 5 minutes late, 10 minutes late. Listen, we all have issues here and there. But, you know, people who are consistently late, you know, whether that's someone you know or that's you who you know yourself. And I'm not saying I'm on time all the time. I'm not, right? Believe me. But I'm always very conscious of whether or not I'm on time. And it, you know, really does, you know, play on my head. I mean, if I know I'm going to be 10 or 15 minutes late to a restaurant, as soon as I know I'm going to be late, I will text that person. You know, if I'm going to be late for a meeting, I will text that person in advance. Look, it doesn't change the fact that I've been late, but, you know, I've identified the problem as early as possible and tried to have the courtesy to let them know. But, you know, people who are systematically late, 30 minutes late, an hour late, to all of their appointments, all of the time, then, you know, you've got a huge problem. Whether or not that problem, you know, whether or not the problem is just that you've got total lack of respect for anyone that you're meeting, I don't know. But you're not going to be able to network successfully. You're not going to be able to grow your business. You're not going to be able to, you know, have people look up and respect you if you cannot turn up on time. You know, if you're going to be that consistently late, the only people you're ever going to be able to deal with are people that you would probably consider beneath you, because no one else who's trying to be a successful person themselves is going to put up with your consistent lateness. So I don't need to go on about it, but you get the point. And the other thing that I learned at the gym, and it shows how old some of my notes are, because I've been doing this for about 3 months now, is leg work. When I first started training with Steve back in, when was it now? October time last year, so 3 or 4 months ago, I'd booked him to do some boxing training with, which is, you know, what I've always kind of done, and, you know, done for years and years. But when we started, literally the first day in the ring, threw a few punches, and he was like, right, we're going to do some kicks. And I said my standard line, which I always say to any boxing trainer or any MMA trainer, which is, "Oh no, I can't kick, mate. You know, I've got a problem with my legs, or a problem with my waist, and I struggle to get my legs up." I said, let's not do it. And everyone else up to this point had always accepted me saying, you know, I can't do it. And he was like, well, no, we're gonna do some leg work. You know, we'll obviously start low. So starts off holding the pads, let's say, you know, below his knees, where obviously I'm going to be able to get to that height. And over a couple of days, we've gone from kind of below the knee to above the knee to the waist. And 3 months down the line, I'm now kicking at probably his shoulder level. I'm not saying this to pretend that I am on my road to MMA greatness, but I just think it really hammered home a message for me that, you know, it's not that we can't do something, it's not that we're unable to do something, it's really that we've been unwilling to try. And I think never has there been a truer situation for the expression, you know, you shit at what you quit at, than this for me. Because, you know, I've obviously never been incapable of kicking. You know, I've not been incapable of, you know, getting my leg above somebody's waist. I've just chosen not to, because in the early days, you know, I didn't like it for whatever reason. Obviously, it was probably tough for whatever reason. You know, legs aren't my forte. I didn't particularly like it, but it wasn't a medical impossibility. It wasn't rocket science, and I just needed to do it. And with that, you know, that little bit of work, that little bit of effort and consistency, that, you know, that 1% a day, you know, getting 1% a day better than the day before, you end up 3-4 months down the line, you know, a completely different person. And whilst, like I say, my kicking isn't quite ready to get me in the UFC just yet, it is absolutely unrecognisable to where it was 3 or 4 months ago. And whatever it is, you know, that you guys are struggling with, whatever it is that you guys want to do in life, the same the same theory, the same strategy applies to that. Insofar as, you know, whether, you know, Harley and her piano, you know, likes to initially think she can't do the piano, that she's struggling with something. Well, she's struggling with it because she's tried it once and she's put no more effort in, and she's given up and moved on to the next piece. Now that she's found that she actually, you know, likes the piano and wants to put the effort in, and, you know, practices X number of minutes a day, you know, Y number of days a week, all of a sudden it's not so impossible. And it's the same for you guys, whether it's sport, whether it's learning something, whether it's a task in your business that you're not very good at. You're not good at it because you don't try it, you don't repeat it enough, you don't put the effort in. But should you do it time and time again, then it is impossible that you can't get better. I'm not going to say you're going to become the world's greatest in that task, but little bits of consistent effort every single day, I guarantee you, when you might not notice a difference day in, day out, but when you wake up in 2 months or 3 months or 6 months or however long it takes, you will wake up one day and it will suddenly hit you. What a different person and what a different level of skill and ability you've got at that task than when you first started. And my regret in all of this is that I didn't have someone pushing me to kick 20 years ago. I mean, literally, I gave up on kicking and kickboxing when I was 16. You know, if this is what I've achieved in 3 years or 4 years, you know, imagine what 3 months or 4 months. Imagine what I could have achieved in the last 25 years. So don't give up. Lychees. I can see Callum smiling in the background as a lover of exotic fruit and vegan things. Now, why are lychees important for this and important for your business? Let me tell you. Going back to the gym, I've been working at a great little gym here, and they've got a nice cafe when you go in at the beginning. And every day, I don't do it so much now because I'm settled at home now, so I've got my own protein powders and smoothies and stuff to have here. But back in the beginning, I would go to the gym every day, and on my way in, I'd take a pre-workout drink, wake me up in the morning, and then when I'd finished, I would always have a smoothie. And the smoothie I always used to have was a mango and lychee, or banana and lychee, I forget what it was, but it was something and lychee. I used to have this every morning, it was really nice, but there became a point when, after, I don't know, whatever, a month, after 6 weeks, I went in one day and I said, can I have my mango lychee smoothie, please? and the lady said, "Oh, sorry, we've got no lychee today. We can't make it, or we can make it with something else." So she made it with something else that day, and it wasn't as good. So I didn't. The next day, I went in and I said, "Can I have my mango and lychee smoothie?" And she's got no lychee again. So I didn't like it particularly the way that they made it the day before. So I've had to move on to a different smoothie that I didn't like. And that, their menu of smoothies, that was all they had. So I then go on the third day, mango and lychee smoothie, still no lychees. And at that point, I actually didn't bother ordering anything because I didn't like any of the other ones they've got. And I'll tell you this story, not because I'm some petulant child who wants to kick off about lychees, but I'm sorry, for me it's just absolute bullshit. 3 days in, and this 3 days becomes 2 weeks at this point, all you need to do is walk to the shop next door to buy some fucking lychees. And it sounds petulant and it sounds, unimportant, but to me that is just a representation of how important certain aspects of your business are to you, or how disinterested in hospitality to your customers you are. If you've got lychees on the menu, then have lychees in stock. I mean, I'm not asking for something A that isn't on the menu, or B that's a particularly complicated and rare thing. I mean, I don't believe there is an international shortage of lychee, nor some supply problem in Dubai for lychees themselves. All she needs to do, or rather, to be fair to her, all her boss needs to do, or the owner of the business needs to do, is go out himself or impart that attitude within his business of, if we're out of stock of something, we need to go and get it. And it's very early in the morning, so I can't think of exact parallels of this to all of your different businesses. But for me, it's just a mark of laziness, of lack of hospitality, and of ultimately not caring. It may sound like such an unimportant thing, but as unimportant as it may sound to you, it is as equally simple to fix. And if you can't get the simple fixes like that right, how are you ever going to get the more detailed and more complicated fixes right? If you are a restaurant, or if you're a bar, or whatever it is, you have a product range of X. You probably don't have tens of thousands of products. You probably have 100 products, or 100 items on the menu, and those 100 items on the menu are probably made up from 30 core ingredients. If you can't get the basics right of having those core ingredients in stock, then how the fuck are you going to get anything else right? And I remember when it happened at the time, I thought it's definitely going to be something I talk about in these weekly roundups. But please don't take the message away from this that Matt's some big baby kicking off in a restaurant because he got no lychee. Take from it the importance of the fact that these problems are so simple to fix. 99% of problems in business, I believe, are very simple to fix. They're simply down to effort or application. So go buy your lychees, whatever that means to you in your businesses. 2 more things before we wrap up today. First is a bit of a question to you guys. And I would like to know, do you think that an employee who leaves you without giving you advance notice is being dishonest? And I asked the question because it's a story that's, let's say, plagued me or plagued my thinking for 20 years in business. And it's something that's occurred two times recently. Now, I always say, and I've spoken about in these weekly roundups before, that I think if you're a decent person, no matter how many times you fire someone in business, it never really gets any easier. And it's something that I absolutely hate doing, even when that person deserves to be. I mean, look, we can all argue about what deserves means, but even if someone's been I don't know, I mean, even when someone's been thieving, as much as I desperately want to get rid of them, it's still not a pleasant task to have to get rid of these people. And when people haven't done anything fundamentally wrong as a person, it's just that they're a wrong fit for the business, or they're not quite up to the job, it's even more hard to I guess get your head around firing them. But it's just it's a task that comes with the business. I know some people don't give a shit about it. You know, some people will get better at it with time. But personally, after 20 years of doing it, I still don't really find it any easier than on the first day. But something that's really pissed me off a couple of times lately. One particular member of staff who's now left, they, I use they not as a politically correct pronoun, but just so we don't identify them with a he or she. They came to me a few months ago to talk about some issues in the business that they weren't happy with, and also some departmental issues. And one of the things I'd said to them at the time was, look, we're going to fix this, this and this. And I think if we fix these things, there's a good future for you within the business and us working together. But I need to know if you are 100% on board with this. I says, because I don't really think you're happy. And if you're not happy, I understand why you're not happy. And I would completely understand and respect why you'd be looking around for another job. But if you are looking around for another job, I would appreciate you giving me the courtesy of the heads up, because your role isn't going to be an overnight one to fill. It's quite important in the business. And, I would just like to know if you're looking around, then maybe I need to start looking for a backup or a number two or an underling or whatever that may be. And this person said to me, no, absolutely not. I've not been looking around. Yeah, I've not been too happy, but I haven't been looking around, and I really like what you've just told me. And yes, this will be the plan going forward. Now, I wasn't 100% convinced, but I've got to take them at the word. So I don't then put any effort into trying to re-recruit this position or trying to find them an underling or an assistant or whatever that may be. 6 weeks later, I get a phone call from them saying, just want to let you know I've got a new job and I'm giving you my 4 weeks notice. Now, for me, it was a very simple conversation. I think this person and I were probably due to part company, so it came as neither a surprise nor a disappointment to me. But I just think it really hammered home the whole concept of equality or inequality between employer or employee. And this particular person in question, it wasn't that they were telling me the truth in the time of the meeting and they'd walked out and then decided to look for another job and then found it but just not told me about it. This particular job they've been looking for, it transpires after the fact that they'd started conversations and interviews about 10 months prior. So during this conversation, when I'm saying to them, are you staying? Are you happy? Are you looking for another job? And they told me they're not looking for another job. They're just point blank lying to me. So my question to you is, if you're struggling with the guilt, if you like, of getting rid of an employee when they're not quite right for you, would that person give you the same level of honesty and same level of respect? Because I guarantee you, this person who was looking around for another job for 10 months and lied to my face when I asked them if they were looking for another job, if I'd have just approached them and said, by the way, I'd like to sit down, you're not quite a good fit for the business, or you and I aren't getting on, no hard feelings, here's 3 months pay and here's your notice period and here's a decent reference, I guarantee you they would have gone ballistic. They'd have probably tried to do me in an employment tribunal, and they would undoubtedly have talked shit about me all over town. So my question to you is, why is it unacceptable for me to do that when this person, it's acceptable for them to not only when they're ready to go to another job, they can just hand their notice in and feel no guilt, because why shouldn't they be able to do that? But on top of that, they can have 10 months of looking around for that job and lying. And it's something that plays on my mind a lot. And even when I always say to myself, when you're struggling to get rid of somebody, just truthfully tell yourself that if they found a better job tomorrow for a bit more money, they would leave in a heartbeat. So you don't need to feel any guilt about it. And you know what? I completely believe it's true. That said, it actually doesn't make it any easier for me to feel less guilty about doing these things. But I just thought it was an interesting point of debate. So Tell me what you think on that one. Drop a comment below, send me an email, or comment on Insta, tweet me, whatever it is, however you want to communicate with me. Last thing before we go, because it is almost gym time for me here in Dubai, I want to talk to you about the size of my balls, and not in a sexual way. I'll tell you what it is. Back in December, I had quite a lot of problems in 3 or 4 different businesses that I invest in, or that I work, that I run with people. And these businesses are all, quite substantial businesses where I've got key partners, key managing directors, who are very competent people who run them all. And every single day of the week, these guys do a great job, probably a better job than I do, in so many areas of growing the business, of managing the business, of doing whatever it is to make those businesses what they are today. But then simultaneously, we had a very bad month in each of the businesses. I won't go into details on what the specific problems were, but we were getting very aggressively sued. We were getting very aggressively hammered by authorities. We were we had a mass exodus of certain people. Somebody turned against us. All kinds of different, quite problematic. Some of these events, potentially terminal events on the business, occur all at once. And for me, it then really hammered home for me, I guess, what my job is, if you like, or what I do in business. And I tell this story not as some pat on the back to me, but I think just as as a point of understanding of what you either need to do for yourself or the kind of people you need to have around you. When these terrible things happened, all of my all of my key partners on these businesses who do a phenomenal job, remind you of that because it's very important in this, they do a phenomenal job of running the businesses every day. When these horrible, problematic things happen, these people became like broken men, and were kind of ready to crawl up into a corner and die. They couldn't cope with the stress. They were wanting to probably make very bad decisions on these matters, and for me that's where I felt I would then have to step in and provide support to these people and provide support to the business, and I guess ultimately be a shoulder to cry on, a backbone and a big set of balls to deal with these problems. And like I said, I don't say this because I'm trying to high five myself. I think my area of expertise and my skill sets have come over the years from having been thrown into many different shit situations in business. Some of my own making, some not so much of my own making, but situations that I've had to see myself through, whether that's bankruptcies or or being sued or being thieved from, or having authorities try and cause us problems. And ultimately I find in business and in life that no matter how good people are at certain things, very, very few people are good under pressure. And I think that probably comes down to the fact that people don't naturally get to experience life under pressure enough. And you could probably say that's a good thing because maybe it's not fun to be living under pressure. And what I find is no matter how good an accountant is, as soon as they get a red letter from a creditor chasing money, they break down and they think the business is about to become insolvent. As soon as a managing director receives communication from a regulatory body, whether, I don't know, the police, the FCA, I don't know, whatever regulatory bodies you guys have in businesses that you own or work in, as soon as they receive that letter from a regulatory body, they immediately feel weak inside and crumble. And I think you only get better in these situations by having suffered them and then understanding that things aren't as bad as you seem. But the reality is, most of these situations you are never ever going to have to suffer in business. Probably, I'd say fortunately not have to suffer them in business. What I always talk about is bankruptcy. And when a business owner is looking at an insolvent situation, they're normally a broken person, not knowing how to cope or how to deal with the situation, because they've never had to do it before. And they've obviously got people around them giving them advice, but these people giving advice are either people with their own agendas to play, or other people who've never experienced that situation either. And I remember when I was 26, 27, for having my first bankruptcy, and I was being told, bear in mind, I was very young. I had what I thought was my whole life and career ahead of me, and I'm being told by, very intelligent, very successful people that was the end of my life, that was the end of my career in business. I'd never be able to recover from it, and I'd basically be, working in the corner shop for the rest of my life. And it's also kind of hard not to believe those people to a degree, because there are people who, on the face of it, are they're more successful than me at that point, or there's certainly successful people who should know about some of these situations, but ultimately, until you've been through the shit and come out of the other side, you don't know the rules of the game when it's going on. So I guess I tell the story because I often think, what does my day consist of? Some people would say that you look at my day and it can look like the life of Riley. Trips to the gym, trips, nice networking lunches here and there, recording a few videos. But I think for me, that month of December really summarised it for me, that I see my job as bringing experience and backbone and balls to situations that other people can't cope in. So I guess where's the message in this to you guys? I think it's very much that you need to have the right support network around you, the right business partner, the right investor, the right mentor, whatever it may be, because probably running 90% of your business is going to be plain sailing and smooth, but when the shit hits the fan, when it's horrible or complicated, difficult situations, then you need the right people around you, because business can change in a heartbeat. I mean, I guess we use the expression in real life, of how everything's going perfect, and overnight, somebody steps out in front of a bus accidentally, and there's some tragic accident, and life just ends. And it really can be that quick in business if you don't know what you're doing, and if you haven't got the right people to support you. So that's it's a very somber, pessimistic end to what should have been a happy, upbeat video, but take it in a positive way, that there are plenty of people out there who can support you in these situations, or maybe that's what you are. Maybe you are a person who copes very well with stress, and that is the skill set you bring to your business, or what you can bring to other people and their businesses. I'm going to close up and go to the gym. It's been good to get back into doing this. I will find the consistency. I've got weeks and weeks of notes of things that have been going on in the life and times of Matt Haycox and my businesses. So we'll get some more of these recorded over the coming days and start getting back into the habit of putting them out here, because I know I used to get a lot of messages from you guys that this was one of your favourite bits of my content. So thank you for watching. Thank you for listening if you do it in the audio version. As always, please like, share, comment, leave a review, whatever's appropriate to the platform you're listening on. I am the Matt Haycox, that's TheMattHaycox, on all of my different social medias. So follow me, share me, tell your pals about me, and I'll see you next time.